Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Platinum support player. I think we're mostly looking at Mercy and Anna with maybe a little BAP. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe as that really does help me out. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what my rates look like, all sorts of good stuff like that. Hey Alice.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Clearing the area.
Okay, good, maintaining some cover. Reasonable positioning. You are going to need to ride that, and you're immediately going to need to ride that again. Okay, so we can get into some of your flight stuff here. I like that you're trying to keep the angle closed here. I do. You want some prediction of where she's going to go, and you also want to know if she leaves you hanging out in the open, mostly because you make a mistake, who else can you go to, etc. Hey, no problem, Smoke. Hopefully you'll be able to get some value out of it. Okay, so this we don't particularly like because we look at this and go, oh shoot, this isn't really good enough cover, this isn't a great thing, etc. Now you're stuck with it in some ways until you can get a Guardian Angel off, but you did want to be aware of your allies. Was there an ally that you could GA to faster? Because a further away target is going to make you move faster. So let's take a look. Do you have your GA back yet? I doubt you do. So the instant this is back, we want to make sure we can break line of sight. And she did give you enough distance, so you can just GA to her. That's fine. Okay.
Thanks.
You can't leave your Pharah like this, though. Like, you've been pocketing your Pharah to this point in the match. Your Pharah now expects a pocket, and your Pharah is still expecting a pocket. Like, you've been 98% pocketing your Pharah up until this point of the match, and your Pharah just went in hard, and this is dangerous positioning. This is something where it's like, oh, my Pharah is going and taking a risk, and that might leave you thinking, oh, they're going there, I don't want to get to go there, and I totally understand that way of thinking, but if you've sort of established that you've been pocketing someone, they're going to take more aggressive positions because they have to. They can't get the value that one hero gets, they have to get the value that two heroes can get, and to do that, they have to go in deeper, take more aggressive positioning, etc. So I actually would very much like your Pharah here. Your Pharah is potentially compromising herself a little bit. This isn't a terrible example. Like, she's still mostly okay. It's mostly a 1v1 that she's going into here. But she was expecting help. And you just kind of, it looks like here, made the decision, no, I don't want to go. Or maybe you didn't actively make that decision. Maybe you were just slow to toggle back to, for example, when you did break off for a moment. But you generally, once you've sort of established that you're pocketing someone, you really don't want to betray that, especially when they're going in somewhere hard. Okay, perfect. Perfect. If you used a Pharah one trick, you know exactly what we're talking about. Oh, did I get going faster than I meant to there? My bad.
You've got this.
Okay. It's close enough that I'll accept that. We do want to find ourselves a better target option, though.
Let me get you patched
Oh boy. I would have expected the harder turn here. Like, you're staring at your Anna when you know the threat is roughly over here. I'm very surprised that you aren't panning your camera this way to have a better view. But not a big deal. We're just trying to take advantage of the hidden aspects of Mercy's kit. Get the ball out of critical, and yeah, there you go. Get back to fair and stay on fair. Good. No, stay on fair. Your ball is totally out of this fight. Like, your ball is totally out of this fight, is not in any danger, has plenty of health, and has an Anna looking at them now. There's no reason for you to be attached to your ball, and every reason for you to have been attached to your Pharah that just left, etc. Like, that's definitely what we wanted to be doing. Your Pharah that's in some danger, in some threat over here, way more important than your ball that's totally bound cover.
I need healing.
So now you're just not pocketing anymore, which I can live with because we sort of established, hey, you're not pocketing in general. But again, I look at this and go, your Genji's in a reasonable position to warrant healing, but it's sort of the, hey, our Pharah's right here. Our Pharah can probably do more with it. Our Anna's looking right at him. Like, again, this is a stay on Pharah, and boosting Pharah is more important than getting the heals on this Genji that your Anna can already see, etc. So it's sort of a, hey, who am I equipped to help, etc., and what does the most help? You're going to Valk off of it. Okay.
Onwards to victory.
Yeah, it's a reasonable Valk timing. No, we don't care about this. This isn't tethering at all. It's not. It's just not worth. Like, you can do this to threaten the fair for a moment, but you're not going to stay on this. You're immediately going to want to pivot back to this. Yeah, you do. We're getting there. So please don't be wasting your chain. Okay, that was a fair amount of time. And again, like, if you wanted to give your ball a second of boost to be like, hey, I'm helping you turn this matchup, etc., that can be worth it. But that was like a good 3 seconds of boost there. And this is time that we can, over here we get much better value. We get at least 2 people, and we get 2 people that are actively in combat. In here we get 2 people. Like, we wanted to be looking for these. We really don't want this one person for any longer than we absolutely have to bail them out. And they weren't in any danger, really. Okay.
Damage amplified. I am powerful.
Reasonable positioning.
You're not one. You needed a goddess?
Okay. Your Pharah does the most damage of anyone right now. That's who you want to be boosting. And your Genji definitely doesn't need healing. Okay. Swap off for that. Fine. It looks like you changed your mind a little on whether you were stopping between the pillars in the middle or there, but I can live with it. This is fine, but you don't need to watch your Genji. Like, you really don't need to watch your Genji. You put your blue beam on him, and that's fine, but you should be going, hey, is there a flanker coming through here? Hey, is there a rocket coming at me? This rocket shouldn't hit you because, again, you don't need to... I'll just make this obvious.
I'll make quick work.
Okay, checking the flank, fine with me. Pivot, you're healing a full health Pharah, but I'll live. You toggle over to heal a full health Genji. The right answer was to stay on the Pharah and boost her, but if you wanted to go the Genji for one minor tick of boost while the Pharah looks like she's reloading there, no problem. Okay, you don't need to look at this Genji. All I can imagine is maybe you're looking up because you expect your Pharah to shoot up in a moment and you want to be able to GA to that. That's all I can imagine. But again, I don't really want you looking up like this. I want you going, hey, what's over here, etc. You just checked here, so we're good. So you should be looking, hey, are there threats? Are there things down here I need to worry about? Is there something back there? No. We should be looking back here. We don't need to look at the person we're boosting. We have lots of tools as Mercy to not have to look at them. One is our beam doesn't require it. The other is we get this thing in the middle of our screen. That thing in the middle of the stream is like the game shouting at us. You don't have to look at the hero you're interacting with. You can see when they're full health. You can see when you should swap to blue, blue versus yellow, etc. So let's take advantage of that. Okay, let's go here. Because you're sort of still looking in this direction when shots are coming from your left. And again, that's a Pharah rocket. Those are easy to dodge and not take damage from if you're looking at them as they're coming at you.
Let's get you back out there.
Okay, you don't need to heal your ball. Remember, you're fighting with Anna for ult charge by doing this. You're fighting with your Anna by ult charge for healing tanks when they're not in critical danger. Critical danger means they're like, 30% health or so in an enemy sight line. If they're like 50% health out of an enemy sight line, they're not in any danger. Let your Anna deal with it. Let her get that ult charge while you go, hey, I'm boosting my Pharah, or maybe I'm boosting my Zarya if they've got, good positioning, energy, etc. But you are kind of over here, and again, I want to know, okay, this is still who you should be boosting even from here, but on we go. You don't need to look at your Pharah. you want to be looking this way because you want to have a feel for, is there damage incoming? Is there something I need to drop to avoid? Do I need to shift earlier than I'd like to avoid something, etc.? Like, you can be looking where the damage is coming from. Your Pharah, you can see your Pharah's health bar. You know that you're going to be boosting them unless they take damage. And again, you want to either be looking at the incoming damage or looking sort of at your other allies so that you can drop your beam and Guardian Angel to an ally if you need to. I'm assuming you have um, prefer beam target on for Guardian Angel when I say this. If you don't, there becomes a little more reason to look at your Pharah, but I strongly recommend prefer beam Guardian Angel target personally. But here we go.
Damage amplified.
Mm-hmm.
Danke.
You should have canceled this. You shouldn't have flown out here. You should have canceled it here so that you were gently drifting behind it, etc. Like, you want to keep the cover between you and the opponents if it's available. Fair's not always going to give you that, but you want to do it. Right now, you've put yourself in the line of sight of the opponents when they have a window. It hurts. Okay, good. That's too long on heal. That's way too long on heal. And you lost him. Okay, let's go through here. You have it off. Okay, well, that's up to you. There are some benefits to it being on, some benefits to it being off. I still don't want you just staring at the target, at your Pharah. You know, the problem with that is effectively it leads to a little more, hey, I have to be staring at my Pharah, etc. You still don't have to. You just need to look at her when you want to jump to her, etc. But, you know, it is taking away some of your ability when you're in the air watching things to be able to look at your team to see what's needed, to be able to look at the enemy incoming fire, etc. And you want to be able to see that stuff. So my recommendation, but there are very high level players who do it the other way, so I'm not going to complain, and there is some value to doing it the other way.
I'm taking care of you.
No, I got distracted thinking about the GA preference.
Damage
So
is
you go up
engaged.
here.
I'm
This is
taking care of
easy.
you.
You have a second left on it. You can still hit it. You can still hit it. You can still hit it. And you just don't realize that you've left it. So you had plenty of window effectively there to GA out, and now you don't. Back on there? Yeah. So Yazaria was fine the whole time. This should have been a stay on your Anna thing. She was gonna, yeah, but doesn't matter. I mean, you just got caught out of positioning because you didn't leave in time there,
Hello.
and that led to that.
My ultimate is charging.
My ultimate is ready.
My ultimate is ready.
You needed a goddess?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let ammo back.
Do you hear behind you? Yeah, you should hear that. You can hear the jets if you have good sound on, directional sound. The sound in this game is very good. You should hear that and check for it.
Justice reigns from
Sure, sure.
I need immer unterbricht mich jeder seine Arbeit. I'm taking care of you.
I don't like that you shifted past this. This should have been a short shift, an intentionally early cancel, so that you have the cover as you're healing your Pharah. I see the ball's in danger too, but you didn't know what was out here, that you were risking this for, etc. Mm-hmm.
My ultimate is ready. I require
Onwards to victory.
I mean, I don't mind Velking. I probably wouldn't have Velked yet because I'm looking at this and going, the first thing that you want to do right now is you want to go heal your Pharah, which you can do with a regular Guardian Angel heal, and your Velk isn't going to chain to anyone yet. So, like, this is sort of the right timing for a Velk, and that this is when your team is pushing, and you can tell that it's the right timing because we just popped 2 other ults at the same time, which is unfortunate. We didn't need all 3 of these. But I wouldn't have Valked here when, my next 2 seconds of Valk are just going to be me going over and healing up my Pharah. If we were, doing this, sure, that could make more sense. Doing our actual team's push, over here, where it's like, hey, we've got our Genji, we've got that, we can look over at our Zarya and our Ana, etc. That would make more sense. But the value of Valk mostly is that you get the chain effect, and don't use it until you're going to get the chain effect. And in this case, that would have saved you using Valk because you're not going to Valk while you have the Nano Blade going. Okay, now they end up going. It's kind of amazing that we threw grab into that. But hey. You only found out about Guardian Angel canceling now? Got it. Yeah, that's a big deal. So there's a couple GA techs that you need to know, and you probably know them now, but the things that you really need to know is you can cancel Guardian Angel early depending on your sets for your Bindings on Mercy. That's either you stop holding it or you press it again. I lean, well, you know what, it doesn't matter, but I lean towards the stop pressing it to end Guardian Angel early. You can do the easy hop past where you Guardian Angel to someone, and right as you start to slow down, really, just as you start to slow down, you hit your jump button, and that'll sort of throw you past them a bit, and that's a good way to build up speed. And then there's the third thing that you need to know, which is the super jump. And for that one, you have to crouch, and then immediately as you're crouching, just hit the crouch button, and then immediately as you're letting go of the crouch, you need to hit the Guardian Angel, and it should be sort of a crouch, let go Guardian Angel as sort of one thing, like letting go of the Guardian Angel. Letting go of the crouch happens slightly first in your inputs, but you shouldn't see yourself uncrouch. Those should be very close together. So crouch, let go of crouch, and then but those are just very close together inputs of letting go of crouch and hitting your Guardian Angel button. And then as you get to the part where you start to slow down, what you see is Mercy goes into a little bit of a dip. So what this would be like is, hey, we're here, we crouch, we let go of the crouch, but we don't actually get any elevation. We GA over, and then what happens is Mercy goes through a little bit of a bump like that. That's the natural thing if you don't do any more inputs, etc. Where she sort of goes, that might be too extreme of a bowl that I did there, but you're crouching, we're Guardian Angeling, and then we're sort of going like that. And that's the natural thing that happens when you end a Guardian Angel. So if you press anywhere in this bowl, the jump button, you'll get a little bit of a super jump. And the closer you press it to over here, the more directly up you'll go with your super jump, etc. If you press it as you're rounding through here, it can launch you more in this direction, it can launch you more in this direction, etc. And that's going to get you less elevation, but can still throw you far, etc. Those are kind of the three most basic, we'll call them Guardian Angel techs that you need to know as Mercy. You can't do this while you're flying, and this is generally the most flexible, but it's pretty hard to pull off for people who haven't practiced it. Okay, cool. That's the end of the objective. So we've seen that. That was your Mercy. I'd say the biggest thing we ran into with our Mercy is we abandoned person who expected they were pocketing us early and put them in a dangerous situation, and we really have to be aware of if we're doing that, because if we do that, the player won't trust us anymore, and they won't go into dangerous situations anymore. So if we continue to pocket them, they won't get the value that they have to get if there's two of them. You know it. That was a judgment mistake, I think, it sounds like, from what we talked about, and that's going to be something you can fix. The other thing is, I want you to play with your camera better. Like, especially when you're up in the air, I want you to play with the camera better, because you're going to get shot at. You have to see incoming people. Like, my preference really is to go, hey, I know where my opponents are. I can see either my opponents, my friends, etc. I'm keeping some of them on my screen, unless I'm behind aerial cover, in which case I'll look at my allies through the wall, but I won't actually see them. But you want to sort of be looking at where danger could be coming from. You don't want to just stare at your Pharah. And it matters. There's a reason that your staff lets you do that. And same thing when you were on the ground. When you were on the ground in front of their choke, you don't need to stare at your Genji in any way. You can look at where threats can come from. You checked the flank, and that was good, but you didn't then look at where the rockets could be coming at you from, etc. And That is part of it. It does not take all of your mental processing power to boost your Genji, to boost your Pharah, to heal whoever. It just doesn't take all of your mental processing power. You have some left. So turn, look at stuff, then you can see it and you can dodge shots that are coming at you or more actively be evasive if you're in an open spot where that's necessary, etc. Yes, it might take some of your brain power and then make you a touch slower at swapping from yellow to blue or blue to yellow, etc., but that's still going to be worth it if you're in the open because preserving your life is really important. Okay. Is there ever a reason to super jump outside of going to high ground? I feel like it just makes me an easy target for hit scans. Absolutely, there's reasons to super jump outside of going towards high ground. It still can get you things where you can abuse the vertical hitbox a little with some res type stuff. So it's like, hey, I'm changing my height as I'm hitting the res type stuff. But more importantly than that, okay, sometimes yes, it's like, hey, I go there, etc. It can change what's available. So let me go like this.
Score.
I need a map. Come on, game. This will work. Okay, so we can come up with lots of situations where we might want to super jump. So let's say that there's a Reaper right here, and I have a friend right here, and I'm right here. And I want to go, and let's say I'm being shot at right here, and then over where Mercy is currently, there's a friend and a Reaper. Well, I might want to GA to Reaper. I might want to GA to my friend because I'm being shot at right here, but then I want to super jump, so I end up here. Even if my intent isn't to get to the high ground, yes, I'd go to the high ground at this point, but even if that isn't my intent, I want to go here because I'm getting shot at right here and I don't like that. But up here, Reaper can't really bother me that much. Like, yes, he can turn up and shoot at me, etc., etc., but, my head is above him. He won't get any headshots on me. I've created a little distance from him, and he can't get to me. And in just another moment, I'll GA back to an ally over here, etc. So there's absolutely reasons to do it. And you can see the same thing with a situation where, hey, I can GA myself up behind a door frame, for example. So, okay, I'm getting shot at, etc., or, I'm getting shot at by, let's say I have no friends to GA to except for one person right here. I can Guardian Angel into a super jump, and now I'm healing from up here or boosting from up here, and they simply can't shoot me through the door frame, etc. And I didn't have anywhere else to go because, again, they had a sight line on me. They had a sight line on me. I don't really have anywhere to go, etc. I can go up above a door frame like this, etc. That's just a couple examples. We can come up with more. You can come up with situations where it's like, hey, I want to be a little further away from this tracer. I want to be up in the air, etc. Or you're doing it to change what's available to you, which is sort of what we did. Where I do this to go up, which gives me another Guardian Angel that I can go to here, which I wouldn't have, had. Like, this is a dangerous spot, this is a somewhat dangerous spot, this is a safe spot. I can't go from here to here, so I'm having to GA towards a dangerous spot, but I'm giving myself a little more safety depending on who it's against before I go over here. Okay. It can make you an easier target for a hit scan, definitely, but it becomes a question of what are your options available, and you're not always up against hit scan, and sometimes you're super jumping to block out hit scan's line of sight with like a door frame like we talked about. It still can be good against, hey, I'm above the fray when my team is on the ground, etc. I'm not going to get hit with spam that is meant for my team because I'm up in the air, etc. It has to specifically be meant for me, all that jazz. So it's not every Guardian Angel should be a super jump. Absolutely not. But there's places where you want it, and having it in your kit is useful. Okay, let's move on because I think we see a different hero now. I think.
Ready for battle.
Cool. Hey Joey, yep, we got the scarf.
Thanks for the assist.
You know, Anna, there are procedures we could look into to repair your eyes.
You're very kind. But I'm comfortable with who I
Oh,
am.
we're keeping the mercy. Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Damage
Round 2. Capture the
Your
objective.
support has arrived. You needed a goddess?
Good.
Behind you.
Usually you would heal that. I think you just missed it.
Behind you.
Your Pharah took damage. And I think you're just not paying any attention to this indicator. I think that's what's going on. I think because you can't see your Pharah, you're not realizing your Pharah is missing health. But that's what this indicator is for. Yeah, she's taking more damage. And again, I think she's fighting a Winston. So this is like... No, I don't know what she's taking damage from. Maybe it was the Winston, etc.
I require healing.
Okay.
I require healing.
Don't do it. I don't like it. I don't particularly like it, but it's just a Moira. You're okay. I'd have preferred to look for a better opening, but I'm being picky. And you will get it off. Unless she gets any help. Yeah, too hot.
Good as fighting.
Would you like sparkling or still? McCree.
Damage amplified.
Okay, you still have plenty of viable boost targets.
You should be at peak performance levels. I've got you.
Again, I'd like a little bit of looking this way to see sort of what's going on, what's incoming. You're sort of keeping yourself behind this pillar, which I appreciate, but there should be some amount of, hey, what's going on? Do I need to be checking, etc. Because it can slow down fractionally your ability to switch between the two, or the speed at which you switch from left to right to right to left click. But you want some idea of what's incoming so that you see, oh, did Hog open a different angle to throw a hook at me, etc.
You needed a goddess?
Cover, cover. Yeah. This was always going to be hard, but you could have been behind this a little earlier, etc. Okay.
Back in the fight.
Hey.
Okay. Not necessary, but an okay swap. I don't really like that you were just in the open there.
You're fully healed.
Good shift. Glad you checked behind you. Shouldn't need it yet. Now you're going to have to flinch and lamp. Good. That was a very well-timed lamp. You don't need to... Okay. It's an okay shift.
Hello.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Come on, replay bug. Give me real speed. You don't want to be here. What are you doing here? Remember, as BAP, you ideally want to sort of be above and behind your teammates, and if that's not an option, you generally want to be behind them or above them to the side when your opponents and your teammates are very close together. You don't want to ever be in front of your teammates. Like, that is not a place for you. And the reason that's not a place for you, other than, hey, that's not good support positioning in general, it's also very bad positioning for you specifically, because the point of BAP, what you need to be doing, because there's delays between his right clicks, is you need to be weaving left clicks behind them, which you can't do if you have to go, I'm in front of my team, I right click, I turn all the way around to weave a 180 to hit these shots, then I go like this to do this, this to do this. No, no, no. We just want to be back here where we can go right click, left click, left click, etc. But hey. So let's make sure we're positioning in places where that's going to be easy.
Tactical visor. Let them up.
What?
Let them up.
No. No. This is not a place where enemies go. Yeah, there's a Winston here, but there was never a chance that you'd get anything besides the Winston, and honestly, there was not a very good chance that you were going to get the Winston. This is a bad window. Yeah. So, just so we're clear, we look to use Windows sort of you use Windows a little earlier than you use a lot of other ults because they sort of do get used in the rotation stage, etc. But like this would be a good window. Like while your team is here, this would be a good window right in front of your Genji. And that'll either get value in perhaps leaving you guys to burst someone down, or it'll force these guys to leave so you at least are able to take space. Like if you could aim the window a little further, even up to here, that would be potentially good. You wouldn't want to aim it any further forward than this. Like, here-ish, just in front of your Genji is generally where I'd recommend placing it. So that's how we use Windows. This was not how we use Windows. Okay. I get it, but like it's not as big a deal as it might feel like oh, we lost while I had my ult, etc. Okay, well, you need to bring this back all the way. Like you need to bring this back all the way. So like, oh, we lost while we had my ult isn't that big a deal because if you empty your whole ult bank on everything very poorly, you're still going to lose because they're going to come back and out ult you, etc. They only need to retake once. So you still have to be somewhat how shall I say, wise with your use. At least get some value. But hey. Shift. You've got Yuan Zarya, it's worth it. Okay. Okay. That was a rough match. We didn't see very much bat play, so I won't comment too much other than the window. Like, that was the biggest thing. Yes, you were in front of your team. Yes, that was an issue, but I can't really see if that was a serious issue. I think you swapped to Anna here in the quick preview. I did clicking through like 5 random spots, but maybe I'm wrong.
Never
Here's the Anna.
fight for what you believe in.
1. Changing position.
Okay. Don't show yourself yet. This is early. Maybe you knew your team had baited enough attention by now. I feel like this is early. I'd have given your team like another half second to bait attention before I'd have peeked, because this is now an off angle, and what you do with off angles is you hit nades. But you don't want them to turn and look at you and try to push you while you're off angled like this. You want them sort of distracted by your team before you open this. Okay, he might not notice. They noticed. And that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, as a result of you doing that, you got a Moira orb thrown in your face, which was half your life, and you potentially have a Reaper coming out this way, maybe a Hanzo, etc. I'm not saying they wouldn't have controlled this flank otherwise, anyways. Like, the Hanzo probably would have controlled this flank regardless, but they may push up and actually punish you because you peeked this a little early.
You're going to be okay.
Sleep him? He's not looking? You have a prayer? Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. I was good with the sleep, I was not good with spending both.
You're going to be okay.
Totally fine. You're trying to sleep him, totally get it, etc. Now I look at this and go, well, okay, like, you can do it, but you know that you're in kind of a vulnerable spot. Yes, you did get healed back up, but, like, you know that you are not safe. Your team has not won this territory. This is neutral territory at best. I feel like you definitely want to hold on to this nade. Now, maybe you feel like, hey, I can spend my nade because what I'd want my nade for is to protect me from a flanker, and the only flanker that they have is the Reaper who's not looking at me, so I'm using it on the Reaper. I can understand that, but this does not feel terribly good. At least you tried to get both the Reaper and your Zarya, so bonus points for that.
I need healing.
What? We don't have our nade and we're walking through this. Like, this is the choke. This is where enemy fire is going to come through, etc. There's no reason to walk closer to your teammates here. Your Mercy will GA over to get you when she can. You don't know about this Hanzo, so I don't think you're running from this Hanzo. Like, this was definitely a stay here type thing. Maybe turn and heal your ball, maybe do this. Like, this I'm very surprised you walked across the opening here. That was just risking your life. Which is exactly what happened. Okay, now you know about the Hanzo. Good. Good. You don't need to push in like this. Why? Okay, you can see your ball and the opponents can't see you, and you can pour at least 3 or 4 more shots into your ball. So just stay right here. Why would you go here? Why would you do this? You've opened yourself up to threats, and you aren't shooting at these threats. You're still shooting at your ball. There's no reason to be here. You don't have a cooldown that you can peek and throw into this. There's absolutely no reason to open this sightline.
Take your medicine. It's going to hurt. I'm on. Nano boost is charging.
It's okay. We'll make your Anna less stupid. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay.
Walk it off. We need to fall back and regroup. Go. I'll keep you here. Nano boost is ready. Get in there and I'll hit you. You're powered up. Get in there.
Are you really going to lose your Zarya here? I don't think you are, personally. I'm looking at this and going, it's annoying, but your Zarya is fine. You have 1 shot left in your clip, so I understand your concern. I do. And if you have to use your nade to save your Zarya, I don't mind it. But I don't really want to use Nano here. It's not that I'm opposed to the healing property of Nano, it's that your Zarya is retreating. So if you Nano this, what's going to happen is your Zarya is going to take a moment before they realize and turn around. So they'll be like, they're here, they start to go this way, and then they go, oh, right, etc., I'm going this way, unless you're shouting, you know, Zarya push, as you Nano her, etc., to try to shorten her reaction time on that. And this Zarya is going to see that your Zarya is nanoed, and you can see your Zarya is already just about at the edge of Zarya's range. So, like, their Zarya is going to be able to back out. And our Nano Zarya, who doesn't have any energy right now, isn't going to get very much value. So it's like, basically, we're nanoing to heal and to get a little bit of space. And that's just not a very good use of Nano. Like, it's just not. Now, yes, if you have to Nano to save her, do it, but you've still got a shot and your nade. I would prefer you do use those. Like, I really would. Okay.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Yeah, see? Zarya's out of range. Like, this is just right-click territory. You can keep him alive with your shot, and then if you need to cancel your reload with a nade, you do it.
Hello.
Why did you open this angle so much? You just drove them back. Now play from here. You can see what you need to do from here, and you have a cover option. It's better than the middle of the point. Like, if this was threatened, it might not be, but you just won this battle by using Nano. You just won this space, so you know you have this space for a few seconds, so use it. Play from here with your cover. Oh, high charge Nano Zarya is wonderful, don't get me wrong, but that's not what we had. We had an out of range Zarya that was low charge. Okay. Okay, keep the angle closed. Okay. I think you knew that you didn't need to sleep that Zarya. I think you knew that the Rhine was better there, but maybe you didn't have health yet. Let me take a look. You probably pressed it right as you hit the fire button. So yes, you did know because you'd hit her with a shot at that point, but you'd probably already pressed the input for sleep, so I'm going to forgive it. But it's why you lose to this Reinhardt. Like, this sleep should have been into the Reinhardt. if you knew the Zarya's health. You should have known the Zarya's health because you hit her with a shot first. But I expect that input press was, I shoot the shot and I immediately cancel my shot fire into this without you first seeing the health. So I'm going to forgive it.
Go. I'll keep you healed.
Not in the open. Pick one side.
Dislocating plastic.
Okay. You kind of were... let's rewatch it. You kind of were taking yourself out of this fight for a long time. Okay. I could have sworn I had my rewind set longer than this. We're here. Everyone's relatively healthy. You see the Reaper. You go for the Reaper. You miss a couple shots. You get maybe one there. And then this happens. Okay, I can live with that.
My ultimate is fully
Okay, we
charged.
have a nano. Let's get some value out of it. It's a little bit rough, FCB. Like, there is more our Ana could have done. Our Ana was behind line of sight for a lot of time, and there's perhaps more offensive pressure our Ana could have been putting out to make that less likely to happen. But yeah, that was kind of just rough. But hey, at least they used 3 ults to do it. That was a Shattergrav Dragon.
Get here. You're powered up. Get in there.
No? I'd rather you tell her to push, like, tell her to push and then nano her rather than just nano her here. I get that you're trying to force this as a 5v5. You're both missing mercies, so it's acceptable. But she's having to use her boost to go, her flight to go in after you've nanoed her. I don't like that. I want her already going in as you nano her. You don't nano people to tell them to go in. You nano people who are already most of the way in or in. It's a lot better value because opponents kite people when they're nanoed. So you doing this is like, oh, who do we kite? That person who's still far away? Yes, she has a movement ability, but she's having to use it to go in rather than to stay on people that are moving away from her who might also have movement abilities, etc.
Fire at will.
Okay.
I have your back.
Mm-hmm. You're boned. Nice. Yeah, I should illustrate this.
Get healed.
It's possible this will, go wrong, but I expect we know what happens. Okay. 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 Our nano's over. Did we really accomplish anything? The answer's no. And that's what happens when we nano people before they go in. Oh, you said stupid nano incoming. I'd missed that. Okay.
I'll rest. Fall back. We need to fall back.
Executing flight maneuvers.
Take your medicine. We need to fall back. We
never
move.
die.
Fall back. Get back in the fight. Focus Need healing.
Okay.
Taking the objective. Support requested.
I don't love you here. Like, I just don't love you here. You could be here, you could be here, or you could back yourself out to here if you want to play middle. If you want to play the middle firing lane, you do it on one of these. You don't just do it here. You've got nowhere to go when they do round the corner. Yes, you have teammates in front of you, but that's not great. If you want to go for cover, it's a long run to here or a long run back to here. Let's do better, please.
Next time.
Burning them dead will only hurt for a minute.
Duplicating Reinhardt.
Go.
Duplicating Reinhardt.
Take damage.
Go.
And that's from
I'll keep
Farah.
you
Yeah. Okay.
We need to fall back and regroup. Fall back. We need to fall back. Fall back.
This is not the end. Casting a spell on you.
Looking away from the Reinhardt doesn't help. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I've seen it. You're going to. Keep healing.
The sleep was good. Your team wasn't really ready to take that yet. Like, I'm glad that you guys got it, but your team wasn't really ready to take that yet. And they might have been in about another second, but you went and woke the hog up yourself, and that was just crazy. Like, that was crazy. I'm glad it worked out.
I have your back. This is going to hurt.
Fine.
Locking down the objective. My shot find them. You're powered up. Get in there. This will help.
But this switch doesn't burn.
You kind of emptied your kit here. Like, I get it. I can accept the Nano Reaper that wasn't really providing value yet, or I can accept the nade. I don't really like you spending both.
My servants never die.
I get that you're trying to end the round faster, etc., but you're sort of giving, if you spend that heavy, you're sort of giving them a chance to get back into it. Okay, good. Okay, so if we get into your Ana, probably, I mean, there wasn't a good nano, I don't think, period. Yeah, I don't think there was a good nano, but I'm more concerned about the positioning at this point. I'm going to stand in the middle here. Oh, I'm going to walk across the enemy firing lane to go do this. Like, that's what I'd be most concerned about. Remember, just pick an angle that you can do some work from, etc. If you want to deepen your angle, fine. You know, you can go like that, etc. But you're mostly going to go, hey, let me pick an angle where I have cover that I can do work from. I don't need to be here. I don't need to be here. We saw some similar stuff with your BAP where you like ran up in front of your team to go shoot stuff, etc. So as a support, you do need to know where your cover is sort of at all times. And I don't necessarily know who you were playing to get up here. I think I saw you were changing heroes some. Maybe you were playing something like Mercy or Moira more often before, where their positioning is a little more flexible. They have more outs. BAP, Zen, Ana, they have less outs. And while their positionings look a little bit different from each other, what will carry from all of them is you need to know where your cover is. You know, if the enemy compromises it, what can I go behind, etc. You know, you can take more aggressive angles with like a Zen or an Ana to go, hey, I'm going to go like this, but you need to know where your cover is. You shouldn't just be here. You shouldn't be a second and a half from cover. You should be, half a second or less from cover, etc. You should be working with these, etc. Sig and Ryan Pryor. Yeah, they would have very different positioning. Got it. Okay. So I want you to be more aware of what the where your cover is pretty much at all times. If you're existing in a place, nope, that's not going to work. We have to get to a place where cover is, and we're going to have to adapt. Like as our team goes forward, we might have to shift up, and now this is our cover, or this is our cover if our team is trying to hold here, etc. But we do want to know, hey, what is cover that we can play near, from, etc. All that good stuff, and we don't need to walk through firing lanes. We don't need to walk into firing lanes to do stuff. We don't get close to enemies to nade. We take angles, like hey, we go take angles, etc. Okay, so know where you get your positioning a little better. I've given you a key step of how to do that. Positioning is a bigger concept than that, but that's going to be a big step. So spend the next 10 games, 3 days, whatever, kind of drilling into your mind as you're playing the game, using 10% of your brain power or so to do so, to go, hey, I need to know where my cover is while I'm contributing to this fight, and again, if my teammates are here, I can heal them up right here. I don't need to go here to heal them up. I can heal them up from here just fine. If I go here, if what I'm doing is healing my teammates, opening this sightline hasn't really helped. Now the enemies can shoot me. That was kind of silly if what I'm doing is healing my teammates. If I have to take a shot at enemies, maybe that makes more sense. But if I'm healing my teammates, I can stay here, etc. So work on that. 10 games, 3 days, a week, whatever it sort of takes for that to sort of internalize, where you then realize that even when you're not focusing on thinking about it, you're maintaining better cover, etc. on your Ana. After that, you can get to working on your nanos. Remember, we hit our nanos as our team is committing, as our team is committed. We don't nano people to tell them to go in. We try to avoid nanoing people for the heal. Like your Zarya, you basically nanoed for the heal. It's okay to go, hey, the heal portion got value. My Zarya is in, she's missing half, a third of her health, etc., brawling, and now a nano her, and we got heal value out of it too. That's great, but we're mostly not looking to nano to save people. We trust that we can hit our shots, etc. If we move back, the next thing is going to be your Mercy. Again, you need to be paying a little more attention to what's incoming. I don't just want you staring at the targets you're pocketing. I want you, or boosting or healing or whatever. I want you more aware of what else is going on. I want you using the fact that you can look in other places, because it's causing you to get hit by Pharaoh rockets. It's causing you to just be staring at a person, etc. And then when you aren't looking at them, we're noticing that you're slow to toggle over to heals when they take damage, etc. So we'll pay attention to that. And then for BAP, the thing is, and then Mercy also, don't betray your pocket. If they think you're pocketing you, you have to keep pocketing them when they go in risky. Otherwise, when they get into trouble, they are going to now not believe you're pocketing them, and if you then continue pocketing, you're just not going to get enough value as a pair, because they're not taking the risk that they have to, given that they're taking up two people's resources. Finally, BAP, I'm only going to give you one thing, which is the window, because you just didn't give me enough time on him. Yes, we could talk about your positioning, but that transitions to Ana. Yes, we could talk more about weaving. Yes, we could talk about your shift usage, but I'm instead just going to say those windows are for right sort of before you're engaging, a little earlier than you might hit a Valk, a little earlier than you might hit a Nano. Before the two teams meet is when you want to use windows. So please do that. Please don't put windows in places where they only hit one person who can easily leave. Yes, windows are like before team fights start even. They're one of the earliest ults you use, in fact. Okay. That's pretty much going to do it. Again, do not try to implement all those changes at once. Pick a thing and work on it. Have it take up 5, 10, 15% of your brain power while you're playing, and do it until it sort of automatically sinks in as part of your autopilot. Be thinking about it. And then once you move on to the next thing, if you notice the first thing is slipping, drop that second thing and go back and continue working on the first thing. Once you can move on to the second thing and notice that the first thing isn't dropping, great, you're done, and you get to actually work on that second thing, etc. So pick it, go through those. I think I gave you 2 things for most heroes and 1 thing for BAP. Just work your way through them one at a time. That's sort of your improvement plan for the next bit. After you get through 2 or 3 of them, your gameplay may change and you may need a different review. You may need to self-review, etc. There might be more important things to work on at that point, but for now, those are the things I'd point you at. Okay. Yeah, no problem, Smoke. Okay, so if you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out. If you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what my rates look like, see what sort of promotions we have going on, events, etc. Speaking of events, in about, what is it, 2 hours, we are going to be doing a collaboration stream with Spilo, another former high-level contenders coach. We will be doing a review of a pretty high-level game there, so I do recommend you guys come check it out. So yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.